Welcome back to Crypto Future. Well, XRP Army, where do we even begin? This is so much. How do you even know where to start with all of this? I'll start here. XRP Army um, is owed an apology from everyone who said that they were conspiracy theorists, from everyone who called, I'll say us because I've been in the XRP Army for years now. For everyone who said we were wrong and we were conspiracy theorists and, all that garbage. Dealt with it all, guys. And now it's justified, right? Let's get into some of this here. This is gonna unfold over the days, but let's get into some of this real quick here, okay? Don't want to hold you guys up too long. First of all, we have a tweet here from Brad Garlinghouse. It's absolutely unconscionable that a regulator, when presented with so much pushback on what he was about to say from the internally at the SEC, they were telling him, don't say this, don't say that, and we're gonna get into those details. Don't worry. And how he compiled this fake test. So he basically just created his own little test to give ETH a free pass in the first place, decided to move forward anyway after everyone, including his ethics department, telling him to knock it off, telling him no, and then throwing the entire industry into chaos, which is what he did. And I kind of want to add a little caveat at the end of this because a lot of people are kind of overlooking Gary Gensler's role in this, right? Because, well, what does Gary have to do? Well, what Gary has to do with it is that Gary has been trying to cover it up for 3 years. That's what Gary has to do with it. He's well aware of all of this information, and he has been fighting to hide it and keep it hidden. He's just as guilty as Hinman is, in my opinion. And I'd like to swear a lot in this video, but I don't want YouTube to, shut me down over it. Anyway, quick little article here. Ripple calls for an investigation into former SEC official into Hinman after the release of the Hinman documents. And yes, we do need a new, fresh investigation into Hinman. He needs to go to jail. Why does this man have $15 million and living his best life? And he's still going around doing speeches and stuff like that and conferences and what the hell are we doing here? Why is this man not in prison? Ripple's calling for a fresh investigation into Hinman and a speech he gave in 2018 that he was frequently cited in questions concerning whether or not the digital asset meets the definition of an investment security. Quotes, an investigation must be conducted to understand what or who influenced Hinman, why conflicts, or at the very least appearances of conflicts, were ignored, and why the SEC touted the speech knowing that it would create a greater confusion. Ripple chief Stuart Alderoty, lead counsel, wrote in a thread today. This is exactly right. There's a lot that needs to be investigated here. Not just Hinman, right? Not just the fact that he did this, but also why was it allowed to happen? The SEC is a government-run agency. This kind of stuff should not be flying under the radar. And if it was caught, like they're saying that it was, that he was told by the ethics department and other people inside the SEC lawyers, not to give this much great detail in his speech about Ethereum, but he went and did it anyways. Why did nobody say or do anything? Everyone who was aware should be investigated. Period. Because if I know that you broke the law, if I know that you, uh, you know, whatever, committed a serious crime, and I didn't say anything about it, I'm guilty by association, right? I know what you did. In the eyes of the law, I would be. I would be guilty too if they found out that I knew. I would be charged as well. So the statement came after documents in the ongoing lawsuit brought by the SEC against Ripple were released earlier today and show behind the scenes edits of correspondence about the speech. Howey factors. Hinman ignored multiple warnings that his speech contained made up analysis with no basis in law. No basis in law, and divorced from the Howey factors exposed regulatory gaps and would create not just confusion but greater confusion in the market. Alderoty wrote, He said the SEC would remove the speech from its website and said it would no longer be invoked in discussion about whether or not a security is a token. Unelected bureaucrats must faithfully apply the law within the constraints of their jurisdiction. They can't, as Hinman tried, create new law. So basically, that's exactly it, right? And Gary's not far off from doing the exact same thing here. So why are we not crucifying that son of a... Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse echoed the view. So Inman just kind of created his own little test in his mind, and he was told by SEC lawyers that what he was saying had no basis in law, but he went and said it anyway. And then the SEC went ahead and used his speech on their website and told people to refer to it for guidance. And then said, oh, no, it was just his personal opinion. Like, another tweet from Eleanor Tourette. An attorney, Jerselik, Laura Jerselik, I probably screwed that up, but an attorney in the SEC Gov Office of the General Counsel pointed out that the issues surrounding secondary markets are extremely complicated and beyond the scope of this presentation. Further, we should discuss whether this presentation should discuss this level of detail with the factors that appear to speak solely to personal use and consumption. So she was trying to say that, like, we need a little bit more clarity about, like, the secondary sales and stuff like that, right? Secondary market sales. Another tweet by Eleanor Tourette. My biggest takeaway from the Hinman emails is that it seems the SEC Gov officials who weighed in on the speech believed the goal was to provide market guidance and tried to write it in a way that would convey that. Thus, in the Ripple case, the SEC lawyer's argument that the speech was solely Hinman's opinion is not intended for market guidance could now be undermined. So basically, like, they can't say it was his personal opinion because they admit it multiple times within these documents that they were deliberately trying to use it as market guidance and trying to word it in that way. They discussed that, so they can no longer say, well, it's his personal opinion, it's his personal opinion. So I don't know where that's going to fall, because the judge had ruled that it was his personal opinion. So it's almost like that the judge ruled that it was his personal opinion because that's what the SEC wanted. It's like she did it because she knew it was going to hurt them. It's kind of like, okay, well, you want this? You ask. Be careful what you ask for, right? So the regulatory gap, proof from Hinman emails of what we've been saying in the Third Circuit to Congress and the SEC itself, that the securities laws are incomplete when it comes to digital assets, that the securities law aren't meant to rule over all digital assets, and that many digital assets are not securities. So here's a comment here as well from the SEC. While we agree that the central purpose of the Securities Act is to address the information, I think we worry that it does not follow that there is no longer an asymmetry once a network becomes decentralized. There are likely still people who have far more information. Vitalik Buterin likely has far more information than retail purchasers of Ether. In fact, disclosure. So basically what they're saying here, what they said, this is unbelievable. They were trying to figure it out, and they say right in the documents, maybe we should call Vitalik Buterin for a non-biased opinion of the situation with the secondary. Like, what? So they want to call the founder and creator of Ethereum for a non-biased opinion. Who's buying this? The fact that tokens on a sufficiently decentralized network are no longer securities and no longer are required to register with all the benefits of the investors of registration seems to point out what might be considered a regulatory gap that exists in the space. In other words, this speech acknowledges that there is an other category It's not a security because there's no controlling group, at least in the Howie sense. Yet, like many other things, is like so they're admitting here that there's a regulatory gap that it doesn't fall under the securities laws. Decentralized cryptocurrencies, right? That's what they're saying here. They're acknowledging that, and you know, and so they're saying they need to create a other category needs to be created to regulate this space. Like tweet by John Deaton. All I'll say right now, when I filed the case against the SEC 9 days after the Ripple lawsuit on January 1st, 2021, and then I highlighted the Ether Free Pass and all of the conflicts of interest and appearances of impropriety involved. I own 10 times more Bitcoin and 4 times more in Ether than I did XRP. Sometimes sometimes it can't be just about your bags. Exactly, it's about what's right. And a lot of people have been on the XRP army. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. The XRP army for years. And you know what? This is about what's right. And now we're starting to see people realize that in the Cardano ecosystem, right? In the Algorand ecosystem and all these other, investors and other assets. Now they're starting to get it because they're being, they're the SEC is going after them. So now this is not about just defending XRP and Ripple. This is about what's right for the entire market, for every single digital asset out there, right? What is right? How do we have to protect each other and ourselves, because no one's going to do it for us. And then we get Charles Gasparino. Geez, he's getting a lot of heat here, talking about how the XRP investors are having a knee-jerk reaction to the emails and that Hinman didn't actually do anything wrong. Guys, this guy's a jack. I mean, sorry I can't swear on here, but he is. I mean, why even bother? Don't feed the trolls, right? Like, he knows damn well what he's saying. He's just trying to be relevant right now. So screw him. Another part of the SEC communication suggests that the SEC's own officials were well aware that the speech would lead to greater confusion and deliberately recommended giving industry participants less detailed. So they did this also so that the SEC, presumably to give the agency more room to maneuver in the future. The SEC also equivocated as whether the Hinman speech reflected official SEC guidance. So what they're saying is they deliberately didn't want clarity in the market so that they could just go around suing people, essentially. And then, they didn't want any clarity. That's another part of this speech. A part of the plan was to not have any clarity, to make it as ambiguous as possible, right? And it's worked up to this point, and Gary's been taking full advantage of it. So you've got Gary sitting here, and it's not my fault. No, but you tried to cover it up. Gary tried to cover it up, and now he's tweeting dumb stuff today, and I feel like Gary's tweets today is like he's feeling out the market to see, what the general consensus is about him and about, like, I can't wait to see what some of the congressmen have to say about this now. This only strengthens the case. This really bolsters the case for the bill to get rid of Gary and get rid of that position, the chairman of the SEC, in the bill that was introduced, I think it was yesterday or the day before. This strengthens that, big time strengthens that. Now there's more justification than ever why one man cannot be in charge of the agency. It's very clear, perfect example why, right? And then for you, Jasmine, well, actually, I'm going to touch on that on a short. Look for a short for Jasmine as well. So that's, guys, this time it's already like 15 minutes into the video, guys. So there'll be more as things roll out. But XRP Army is owed an apology by most of the other asset classes, investors and stuff. We were talked down to, we were made fun of, we were mocked, and we were right. So yeah. Anyways. Shoot me a like, shoot me a comment down below, guys. Let me know how PO'd you guys are, because I know you guys are angry, right? Let me know. Let it out in the comments down below, guys. We'll discuss it. Shoot me a like. Shoot me a subscribe. I'm going to be covering all this stuff. I'm going to be breaking it down as it comes out. There's thousands and thousands of pages, guys. So it's going to take probably, it's going to be like a week and a half of this stuff kind of rolling out, right? And then I'm going to watch the video. I don't know if you have time to watch John Deaton special video tomorrow with a breakdown, but I'm going to take a lot of notes. I'm going to do a video from what I took from what they were talking about. And yeah, so make sure you subscribe. You want to stick around for that, guys. I got some Jasmine news coming out later today, so stick around for that.